Princess Charlotte, the 7-year-old daughter of Prince William and Kate Middleton, is 4th in line for the throne. As such, she's pretty much been famous since she was born.
In a twist that feels straight out of a royal drama, trouble inside the palace has spilled into the open. King Charles has reportedly removed Queen Camilla's grandson from the royal line of succession after he was caught hitting young Princess Charlotte. But what really happened behind those palace doors? Why did King Charles react so quickly and so strongly? And how did Camilla take the news? Join us as we uncover the truth behind King Charles's shocking move to strip Camilla's grandson of his royal status. Picnic with the royal family. It was a sunny and lovely afternoon at Windsor Castle, a historic place that has stood strong for centuries, representing the heart of British royalty. But on this day, there were no grand ceremonies, no shiny crowns, and no formal speeches. This wasn't about duty or being in the spotlight. It was something much more rare and personal, a quiet family get-together. For the first time in what seemed like ages, the royal family could just relax and enjoy being together. There were no photographers hiding in bushes, no camera flashes, and no strict rules about standing straight or smiling perfectly. It was simply a peaceful day outside, with warm sunshine and a soft breeze floating through the countryside. This calm scene took place in the castle's large garden, where tall trees gently swayed and golden sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating moving shadows on the soft green grass. Birds sang in the distance, and the joyful sounds of children laughing filled the air. It was like a moment from a fairy tale. Royalty without all the fancy stuff, just enjoying a beautiful day together. Picnic blankets were spread across the lawn. Bottles of lemonade and tasty snacks were shared around. Every now and then, laughter rang out as someone told a joke or a child pulled a funny face. This wasn't the kind of royal moment people were used to seeing on TV. It was something much more real and much more heartwarming. At the center of it all were King Charles and Princess Kate, joined by her 3 energetic children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and little Prince Louis. The children were full of life, running between flower beds and playing games in the grass. George, the oldest, had a confident way about him, like he knew he was the big brother. He led the games and looked out for the younger ones with quiet responsibility. Louis, the youngest, was a bundle of energy. He zipped around in all directions, giggling and causing a little harmless chaos, the fun kind only young kids can. His big smile and sparkling eyes made everyone laugh along with him. Then there was Charlotte, smart, calm, and full of personality. Though younger than George, she had a special presence. She floated between the children with ease, offering kind words and clever remarks. Even without a spotlight, she seemed to shine. Kate, always the caring mother, kept a gentle eye on her kids. She moved quietly around them, making sure they were safe, fed, and happy. Dressed simply and smiling often, she looked completely at ease. Just a mom enjoying her children's joy on a sunny afternoon. Every so often, she glanced over at King Charles, who was deep in quiet conversation with his own father. He looked over at the children briefly, saw all was well, and smiled before turning back. This was their time to relax, free from all the formal rules, at least for one afternoon. Also, there was Queen Consort Camilla, who had brought along her 2 grandsons, Gus and Louis Lopes. Though they weren't born into the royal family, the boys had started showing up more often at royal events. Little by little, they were being welcomed into the royal world. They had even attended the coronation, and now here they were, part of this peaceful family day. Gus and Louis blended in easily, chatting with the other kids and soaking up the sunshine. But what did Camilla's grandson do that made King Charles take such a surprising and serious step? Let's find out. Camilla's grandson hitting Charlotte. What started as a peaceful and happy afternoon in the royal garden suddenly turned into a moment that deeply shook the royal family. The royal children were running around, laughing, and enjoying a rare day away from their usual duties. The sun was shining, and everything seemed perfect, until things took a sharp turn. Princess Charlotte, known for being calm, polite, and quietly confident, suddenly became the center of something hurtful. It began with a small teasing remark about her curtsy and the way she walked. The comment came from Louis Lopes, Queen Camilla's grandson. At first, it seemed like harmless teasing, the kind of joke kids sometimes make. But Louis didn't stop. Then came the cruel words that changed everything. "Your mommy is just pretending to be queen. Mine is the real one." Those words hit hard. It wasn't just a joke anymore. It was a direct insult to Charlotte's mother, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her future role as queen.
Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales, will, I know, continue to inspire and lead our national conversation.
The happy mood in the garden disappeared instantly. The laughter stopped. It was as if a dark cloud suddenly covered the sun. Charlotte froze. Her face turned red. The confidence she usually showed so easily was gone. She looked shocked, completely stunned. Her eyes filled with tears, and then she started to cry. But it wasn't only the mean words that made her cry. It was the pain behind them. The jealousy, the rivalry, the quiet tension over who would be queen. Things children don't fully understand, but still feel. Without saying a word, Charlotte ran straight into her mother's arms. She was shaking, her sobs soft but heartbreaking. It was a moment that showed a very human side of the royal family, a side people rarely see. Kate, always calm and caring, quickly got down on her knees and hugged her daughter tightly. Her motherly instincts kicked in. She whispered kind words into Charlotte's ear and gently rocked her, trying to comfort her. But behind Kate's calm look was something else. Quiet anger. Someone, even a child, had tried to hurt her daughter, and that wasn't okay. Not far away, King Charles had been in conversation when he noticed something was wrong. He stopped talking right away and looked over to see Charlotte clinging to Kate, crying. His face changed. His protective side took over. He walked over, serious and calm. "What happened?" he asked. Kate stood up and told him in a soft but strong voice what had been said. Her eyes showed how deeply hurt she was. King Charles listened carefully, his jaw tightening. As he heard the words, his face grew cold. This wasn't just children being silly. It was more serious than that, and he made it clear no one, not even someone from Camilla's family, could speak to his granddaughter like that and expect nothing to happen. While Kate gently stroked Charlotte's hair, holding her close, King Charles stood nearby, filled with determination. Could this moment spark a bigger conflict in the royal family? And how did King Charles react? Let's find out. King Charles. Reaction. The moment King Charles saw little Charlotte crying in Kate's arms, something changed deep inside him. Everything else around him seemed to blur and disappear. This wasn't just a case of kids having a small argument. No, this felt different. It was personal. Charlotte wasn't just upset, she was truly hurt, and not just a little. It was the kind of pain that made King Charles's heart feel heavy. He couldn't just stand by and watch. Without waiting a second, King Charles walked straight over to the nearby royal staff. His steps were strong and steady. His face looked calm, but serious. He wasn't shouting or panicking, but the look in his eyes showed he meant business. He needed to know the truth, right now. "What happened here?" he asked. His voice was firm, not loud, but it carried the weight of a king demanding answers. He wasn't asking just to be polite. He needed to know what had caused Charlotte so much pain. The staff looked uncomfortable. They glanced at each other nervously until finally, one of them spoke up. They told him that Louis Lopes had said something very mean to Charlotte, something far worse than normal teasing. With a smug tone, Louis had told Charlotte, "Your mommy's just pretending to be queen. Mine is the real one." Those words struck King Charles like a blow to the chest. He could feel a storm building inside him. This wasn't just a mean comment, it was a cruel insult, an attack on his wife, on Charlotte's mother, on their family. One look at Charlotte's tearful face was all the proof he needed. Those words had left a deep mark. King Charles's jaw tightened. At that moment, he stopped being just a king. He became a father who had seen his daughter unfairly hurt. And he wasn't going to let it slide. Not this time. He moved quickly. Without wasting a moment, he ordered an urgent meeting with his top royal advisors. To outsiders, it might have looked like he was overreacting, but King Charles knew better. This wasn't about punishing a child. It was about doing what was right. It was about protecting his family and setting a clear example. This was about respect and making sure the royal family stood for something good. In that meeting, King Charles made a serious decision. Louis Lopez would no longer be allowed to attend royal events. No more appearances at official ceremonies. No more visits to royal homes. And any royal titles he had been given would be taken away. It was a strong and surprising move, one that shocked many inside the palace. But King Charles believed it had to be done. This wasn't an easy choice for him. It weighed on his heart. As a father, it hurt to take such a strong step. But protecting his children, especially Charlotte, mattered more than keeping royal traditions. He wanted to make it clear that even people within the royal circle couldn't get away with showing disrespect to his family. For King Charles, this was one of the toughest choices he had ever made as a royal. But it was also one of the most meaningful. He wasn't just standing up for his daughter. He was standing up for the values that the royal family should represent. He sent a powerful message that love, respect, and dignity matter more than titles or traditions. But how did Camilla react to such a bold decision? Let's find out. Camilla's disappointing response. When King Charles made the bold choice to take away royal privileges from Camilla's grandson Louis, it caused a huge stir. This wasn't a quiet decision made behind the scenes. It hit the royal family like a sudden thunderstorm. For Camilla, the news was a shock. She had spent years carefully building her role in the royal family. She had worked hard to gain respect, not just for herself, but for her children and her grandson. So when she heard that Louis was being removed from royal duties, she felt completely caught off guard. To her, this wasn't just a rule change. It was personal. Louis had been part of royal events, had stood with the family during big occasions, and had been welcomed into the royal spotlight. Now, in one painful moment, all of that was taken away. It felt like doors that were once open to him had suddenly slammed shut. Camilla was furious. She couldn't believe King Charles, her own stepson, had done this. Louis wasn't just any child to her, he was her grandson. To see him treated like royalty one day and pushed out the next felt like a deep betrayal. It wasn't just about Louis. It felt like her whole family was under attack. Fueled by emotion, Camilla stormed into King Charles's office. She wasn't there to ask nicely. She wanted answers. Her voice trembled with anger as she reportedly said, "You need to fix this. This is an attack on my family. I can't believe you would do this." But King Charles stayed calm. He didn't argue, and he didn't get upset. Instead, he looked at her and said quietly but firmly, "It's done, Camilla. There's nothing more to discuss." Camilla was stunned. At that moment, she realized Charles wasn't going to defend her. The support she had counted on just wasn't there. She felt completely alone, not just pushed aside by the king, but now ignored by her husband too. To Camilla, this wasn't just a decision about royal roles. It felt like her entire family was being rejected, and that hurt deeply. Still angry, Camilla turned her frustration toward the palace staff. She demanded to know how this had happened without her knowing. The aides, many of whom had long respected her, were shocked. They had never seen her this upset. Whispers quickly spread through the palace. People began to wonder if her influence was starting to fade. And it wasn't just inside the palace. Outside, many in the public stood by King Charles and Princess Kate, praising them for putting their own children's future first. At the same time, Camilla's position in the royal family seemed weaker than ever. Her anger was real. Her pain showed. But none of it could change what had already happened. King Charles had made his choice, and the message was clear. Things were changing, and no matter how hard Camilla fought, it was clear her place in the royal family wasn't as strong as it used to be. So what about Kate? What role did she play in all this? Let's find out. Kate's protective position. When little Princess Charlotte came running to her mother with tears in her eyes, everything changed in a flash. The moment Kate saw her daughter's face, she didn't think twice. She dropped what she was doing, knelt down, and hugged Charlotte tightly as the little girl cried into her shoulder. At that moment, Kate wasn't the polished duchess people saw at events. She was something much more powerful. She was a mother. And a mother will do anything to protect her child. Charlotte had heard something hurtful, something no child should ever hear. Just minutes earlier, the royal gardens had been full of laughter, but that joy quickly disappeared, just like Charlotte's smile. Kate knew she had to step in. She gently took Charlotte's hand and walked her away from the crowd and the whispers. As they moved through the garden, Kate bent down to whisper comforting words to her daughter, even though her own heart was breaking. Inside, Kate was more than just upset. She was furious. This wasn't some silly joke or careless comment. It was a direct insult aimed at her child. Kate had always been known for staying calm and graceful. But this was different. This was personal. And no one, royal or not, had the right to make her daughter cry. Two thoughts ran through Kate's mind. First, she needed to comfort Charlotte and remind her how loved she was. Second, she knew this couldn't be brushed aside. As a mother, she had to protect her daughter. And as the future queen, she had to speak up for what's right. Later that day, Kate quietly asked for a private meeting with Queen Camilla. The room felt tense as they sat down. Camilla gave a small smile and tried to play it off, saying it was just kids being kids. But Kate didn't smile. She didn't yell. She didn't need to. She looked straight at Camilla and, with a calm but firm voice, said, "This isn't just about children playing. It's about respect. My children deserve to be treated kindly." There was no anger in her tone, but her words were strong and clear. This wasn't just about Charlotte anymore. Kate was sending a message. Her children would not be treated unfairly by anyone. She wasn't trying to start a fight. She was standing up for her daughter, for what was right. At that moment, something changed. People had always seen Kate as the graceful royal wife. But now, they saw something more. A fierce mother who would stand up for her children no matter what. Camilla, who may have hoped to quietly move past the issue, now understood that this wasn't going away. Kate was serious. She wasn't just protecting Charlotte's feelings. She was drawing a line. And how did the public respond to this powerful moment? Let's find out. Public reaction. When King Charles decided to take away royal privileges from Camilla's grandson, people reacted quickly and loudly. It wasn't just a private royal issue anymore. Once people heard that Princess Charlotte had cried after a mean comment from Camilla's grandson. The story spread fast and touched many hearts. That moment became a powerful symbol. Families should always protect each other. On social media, support for King Charles and Charlotte grew rapidly. Hashtags like Protect Charlotte and Team Charlotte were used by thousands. Many people, especially parents, praised King Charles for standing up for his daughter. They believed it was important to defend children, especially when bullying is involved. What began as a quiet family matter turned into something much bigger. People felt that King Charles had made the right decision, not just to stop the bullying, but to show that bad behavior shouldn't be ignored. Even inside the royal family, his message was loud and clear. Bullying is not okay no matter who you are. But soon, the spotlight shifted to Camilla's family. Many people began to ask why her grandchildren, who weren't born into the royal family, were given special roles at royal events. Some thought it was unfair that they had royal privileges just because Camilla married into the family. This made people question how royal titles and honors were being handed out and whether it was right. The media began calling it a royal reckoning. This wasn't just about one argument or a single hurtful moment. It was now about fairness, respect, and how power is shared within the royal family. It raised serious questions about how royals should treat each other, with or without titles. King Charles's decision to remove Camilla's grandson from the royal spotlight wasn't only about a single act of bullying. It sent a clear message about royal responsibility. For the first time in a long while, someone close to the royal family was held accountable for their actions. Charles made it clear, being part of the royal family doesn't mean you can behave badly and face no consequences. The royal family is supposed to be based on respect, duty, and service, not just family connections. King Charles reminded everyone that being royal should be about how you act, not just about who you're related to. Over the years, Camilla's family had become more involved in royal life, but this decision showed that there were limits. Charles believed being royal comes with responsibilities, not just rewards. So, what are your thoughts on the shocking decision by King Charles to remove Camilla's grandson from the royal line of succession? Let's hear them in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.